Thank you. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be talking about the practicality of these amendments to the Companies Act 2025. And CIPA has gone through an upgrade of their system in alignment with these amendments. So I'm going to explain sort of how this works on the ground for us in business. For a smooth transition, Nigel spoke about transparency, and a lot of these upgrades to the CIPA system are to improve the transparency and to make lots of things more traceable, trackable. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is constitutions. So all companies are required to lodge a constitution on the CIPA OBRS system. OBRS stands for Online Business Registration System. And the deadline for this is the 20th of March 2026. The fee is 500 pula. And there is a template that is available online on the CIPA system that people can use. If they don't want to use that template, you can make your own constitution. So, any constitution that is currently on the system is going to need to be reviewed to make sure that it complies with the new act, and especially the controller form. That is the main difference, is this controller form that is on these new constitutions. I will go into what the controller is. So who is a controller? So a controller refers to a person who has the power to control the management or policy decisions of a company, either directly or indirectly, including through shareholding, management rights, or shareholder agreements. This essentially means someone who has the ability to influence a company's major financial decisions. So practically, a controller could be a shareholder, directors, beneficial owners, or it could be none, actually, because sometimes controllers are senior management of companies. So within your company structure, you will see who the controller is, and every controller needs to complete and sign the controller form, which gets lodged alongside the constitution. As controllers can change, because directors can change, shareholding can change, and so can senior management. That's why it doesn't get lodged with the constitution, it gets lodged alongside it. And every time your controllers change, you have to upload new controller forms. There won't be a fee of 500 for the controller forms. The next change is beneficial owner. So there is a long definition which I'm going to speak to practically, give some practical examples as to who is this beneficial owner. So the beneficial owner is now going to be visible for all the world to see on CIPA. Whereas on the system before, we used to put beneficial owners on the system, but nobody could see them but us as the company secretaries or anyone who had access to your company profile. But now, with the upgrade, everybody's going to see this beneficial owner information. So who are these beneficial owners? I'll give an example. So if we have shareholding, 100 shares in a company, and we have Jack has 90 and John has 10. They are both beneficial owners because they both have more than 10% of the company. However, maybe Jack is holding the shares as a nominee for Sarah. Therefore, Jack is the shareholder, but Sarah is the beneficial owner on the system. We could have Jack's shares are actually, through some kind of shareholders agreement, are held by 3 individuals. So under beneficial ownership will be Jack plus the other 2 individuals. So anybody who has a 10% stake in the business, they could be the shareholder, they could not be, has to be on the system as the beneficial owner. there will be a beneficial owner form that has to be completed by each beneficial owner. And on this form, it will talk about nature of interest, and that's where you will specify who you are in that system. Are you the shareholder? Are you maybe a senior managing official? What are you? Because sometimes the beneficial owner cannot directly be traced to a natural person, a human being, as in if the shareholder is a pension fund, for instance. It would probably be the chairman of the board of that pension fund. Or if it's a trust, the beneficial owner on the system would be the trustees. And when on the system, as I found out last night, because we've only started uploading beneficial owner on the system, is that you can actually see the interest. Who is that beneficial owner? So that's what the world can actually also see. So it would be Candace Muir as the beneficial owner, and you would say nature of interest, shareholding, or it might say senior managing official, or whatever was input by our company secretaries on the system. That is visible for the world to see. Filing of annual financial statements. There was a memo that came out in 2022. So we have been filing financial statements, audited financial statements for non-exempt private companies. But now that directive has been put into the law. The fee is 5,000 pula, and your audited annual financial statements must be filed within 7 months of your financial year end. What is very new is that all exempt companies are now also going to have to lodge their annual financial statements, not audited, onto the CIPA system in a prescribed form. CIPA has told us. This form has not been shared with us yet. I'm sure they'll share it soon. The next amendment I'm going to be talking about is the licensing of us as company secretaries. So there has been an amendment to section 162, and it now says a person shall not be appointed as a secretary unless such person has A, been licensed by the registrar in a manner to be prescribed and the qualifications set out in section 162. So once the law has commenced, company secretaries have 24 months to get this licensing done. We are still in talks with CIPA about the guidelines and how this will all work and what fees will apply and everything else. So I don't have anything more on that. Next, I want to talk about what everybody can really see about your company at a glance on CIPA. They don't need to log in. They can just search your company or search your name if they know your full name. And what can they see? They can see all your company details, your registered office, your business address. They can see your constitution, including the controller form. They can see the secretary's information, director, shareholders, beneficial owner, names, addresses, and the beneficial owner's nature of interest, and the date of appointments of all those. They can see the share allocations, auditor's details, or whether your company is exempt, and then they have a new tab called visualization that they didn't have before, and this is in connection with beneficial ownership. So when you're in a company and you tap on the visualization tab, it will show you a 4-tier beneficial ownership diagram, which you can sort of trace how, let's say, if I was the beneficial owner of Coca-Cola, how I am the beneficial of Coca-Cola, going through all the steps. And who else might be the beneficial owner. And then we also have the tab of filings, where you can find all the company's history and information. If you want to find something out about a company, you go into filings and you'll be able to see when they had a director change, when they had an auditor change, when they filed the annual financial statements, any other type of history is available there for everybody to see. And that brings me to the end of my lengthy presentation. Thank you.